What is up, Internet? What's going on? Where are you at? What are you doing? It's President's Day. Happy Monday to everybody out there. Hopefully everything is going super awesome. Hopefully everything's going super awesome for everybody out there, and you're feeling great. You're doing good, and everything is in order in your life. Checking up on some of the early chat here. First one to the chat, Frank Dominguez, coming back in on a Monday. Quickly followed up by Freshman Aquatics, Nisi of the North, Potato, and Gaddis Aquatics. And as you guys know, when I pop out the chat here, a bunch of it disappears. So, kind of have to say hi to some people here, get it warmed up. As you guys can see, the title today is a sort of Ask Me Anything kind of free-form chat show. Ask me about aquariums, nature, agriculture, whatever. As my moderators were chatting about earlier, they can't believe I put politics in there, that if you guys wanted to ask me politics, you can. I would recommend to anyone out there, if you want to have that conversation, feel free, but keep it PG if that's what you're into. And let's whatever we end up talking about today, let's refrain from arguments or bad-mouthing anybody else, okay? Them's the rules. Pretty easy to follow and pretty easy to adhere to, right? So let's say hi to a couple of people. Itchpadoinkle is here. Douglas Palmer, all the way from the United Kingdom, right? The United Kingdom, I believe. Charlie List is here. I forget where you're from, but is going in for some physical therapy, and hopefully that comes out 2 thumbs up. Let's see here. I already said hi to Frank Dominguez, but there he is in the early chat. Killian is here, making it for a live stream. Thanks for showing up. Big Texas Tanks, digging it. Malini Victor, what's going on? How you doing? Robbie Rosenbaum, Candy Overhauls, what's going on? Let's see. Ryan Charlesworth is here. Magic 21 Mom is here also. Followed by Debbie Swan and Jennifer J. Sarchicino, finally making a show. Apparently has the day off today. So glad to see you. So glad to see you making it to a live stream. It's been a long time, and haven't seen you in quite a while. It's good to see you, Jennifer J. Sarchicino. Super awesome. Logan Fincham is here. Steve's Shrimpy, Super Shrimp Shrimpery and more, otherwise known as the Scogland himself. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. And Leslie 2009. Have to be at work soon. Sorry, I'll be missing this live stream. Oh, you can always check it out on the replay because we upload it as a video later on. Derek Runyon is here. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully I was going to send out some plants to Derek and, oh, shoot, I can't remember who else. I was going to send out some plant trimmings to people. That's going to have to wait till next week, and I'll get into that. Actually, why don't we just jump into that right now? It's the overnight lows here are it's like 14 degrees or something. So we have some freaky cold weather here that we never do. Well, not never. It's like once a year, and it didn't happen yet, and it spontaneously jumped at us in February. It was snowing all weekend. It's supposed to snow off and on all week. It happens to be sunny out right now, which is why it looks a little weird in here, but it happens to be sunny out right now, and it is really cold out there. I will tell you. I was sending off some pictures of running my propane heater in the shop to to Corey earlier today, and yeah, it's freezing in my shop. As you guys know, the walls are pretty much just old shiplap wood, so it's pretty darn cold in the shop part. If I go in the fish room, that's completely different. I think I have on all the walls, I have basically R30 rated insulation, so it's pretty warm in there, not a problem. But my wood shop portion is freezing, and you guys will find out on Wednesday what I've been working on in the wood shop. Today, there won't be a video segment, so if anybody's freaking out about a video segment, there won't be a video segment today. So I would just, don't worry, don't be tripping too much, and don't be freaking out. You know what I mean? I see Savannah in the chat. Good to see you via the internet. I see Soggy Pits. I see Swift Aquarium. Fishhead 2925. Sarah Kanopko. I see the Swishwimi Whiskey Vision. Swishwimi Sashimi Squishky Vision is in the chat. He's not really here. He's just, you know, he's just bumping the numbers up by one. He's not actually going to say hi or anything. He's just, you know, he's just watching, just to listen. Maybe he's not active. Maybe his fingers are broken. I don't know. He was out shooting video with Steenfot yesterday, so maybe he did break all his fingers. I don't know. Smeal Kapoor, good to see you. Karen Pepe, hello. Dank Tanks is here. Lord Getface is here. I said hi to Freshman already, but I'll say hi to Freshman Aquatics again to give him a shout out on Friday. Check out his channel if you want. You know, burgeoning fish keeper. Simply Beta is here. What's going on? Good to see you. Simply Beta, we've got royalty in the house, my friends. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate it. I always forget your real name, but Simply Beta, what's up? Betsy Cummings is here. Kevin Keener, my guy. We got to find some buses and drive them around, my boy. We're going to do that. Little Largemouth is here. Good to see you. And Aquaman, along with a bunch of other people. I don't mean to skip anybody, but that's, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the chat. So I try to say hi to everyone, but, you know, as it adds up, got 143 people watching right now, so it'll take a while to get through all those names, and it's not on purpose. I just start at the top. But we have a super chat. We have a super chat here from the LG3 Nation of the $2 variety asking, what's your favorite fish movie? It says his is Jaws. Mine would have to be, since you said Jaws, since you said Jaws, the first thing that popped into my head was the original Piranha movie. I don't know if you've ever seen Piranha. It is ridiculous. It is so bad, it's good. It is a fantastic fish movie, and basically zero science involved whatsoever. Like the attack piranha are just viciously going around attacking people, and it makes no sense whatsoever. But fantastic movie, ton of 70s type stuff in it. It is pretty nonsensical. That would probably be my favorite one. I would have to say that the first time I saw Finding Nemo, what an amazing little fish, what a amazing fish movie that was. I do have to admit that the references to Finding Nemo have gotten way tiring. You know, a blue tang is not a dory. It's not a Nemo. It's a clownfish, you know. Just to say that, but that, you know, that has to do with it being a kid's movie. Kids are just, they're repetitive like that. They just gotta. And, you know, so it's no slight on anything like that. It's just, you know, but, you know, the first time I saw it, what an amazing movie when the first time I saw that one. Eric Gone Mad with the $75 super chat going buck wild on a Monday. Thank you very much, my man. He's calling it royalties. If anybody is following some of the Facebook groups out there, he made a little onesie for Turbo Fish's baby that says Corvus makes me poop. Just like Kind of like my mug. I don't know where my mug is today. I got my jar. I don't know where my mug is. I think I washed it or something, and it's up on the rack. But definitely, thank you very much, man. That's huge. That's phenomenal. And without your guys' support, I'd end up having to do a different show. I'd have to do the Gerald Makes Pancake show or whatever. I don't know. But I appreciate it, you guys. It all goes back into making better shows and doing more stuff for the community and things. I think a lot of people were pretty excited about the little video that I put out this weekend, which, personally, I'd give it about a. I think if I was being honest, I'd probably give it like a 6.5. 6.5. So I think I've got a lot of room to grow with documenting trips and road trips and fish club meetings and stuff like that. But I did take a lot of notes. I took a lot of notes at the aquatic experience. They didn't really pay off. But I took a lot of notes on this last trip to figure out like what I'd missed, what shots I need to get, things that I would need to do to make a, let's make a 9 video instead of a 6.5. So, but I think it did give a lot of people something to talk about in response to the trip down to Portland with Corey. I think it definitely has sparked a lot of conversation, which I think is awesome. It's fantastic to hear how many people are going like, "Where's my local club? What's going on here? What's the deal?" So I'm pretty excited to hear those kinds of conversations and people talking about that kind of stuff. And I do realize this is going to be ridiculous, but hold on just a second. Sorry about that. I was like whistling, breathing into the mic. That was not cool. So I guess to speak on behalf of why I just had to blow my nose. If you guys notice, we have overhead lights in the office again. Over the weekend, Vicky and I have been crawling around in the crawl space, in the attic, and all that kind of stuff, and finishing up some more of the rewiring of the building here. Very happy to say that. Very sad with the crazy booger situation I got going on, because I was probably breathing in a bunch of crazy 100-year-old dust and stuff like that. But I'm no worse for the wear, realistically, so I'll survive, and survive I shall. And but I'll be fine. I know that tomorrow my commute might be a little bit harebrained, trying to get up to Corey's place, so I'm going to have to cut out of here pretty early, bright and early in the morning, because it's supposed to be snowing, and after the 3-day weekend, I almost guarantee people have forgotten how to drive their cars and all those things, so it's going to be kind of a fun day tomorrow, but I'm getting excited for that. If anybody doesn't have their notifications turned on for the Real Fish Talk, remember to go turn those on, because it'll be Corey and myself and the Schwarzschild whiskey in the background, double checking whatever we're talking about and making sure to Google search anything and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. Oh no! We got a super chat here from Tim Lewis saying, for the coffee fund. Oh, thank you very much, my man. I very much appreciate it. Right now, I am on. I'm on the mad hunt for what would commonly be referred to as glass, which would be camera lenses. That's realistically my big problem right now, is trying to find some camera lenses for this brand new camera, which, thank you very much to our huge our community leader, I guess, whatever you want to call him, Corey, for sending out the craziest camera I've ever owned. As you guys can see, I spent all my money on this lens, so now I'm restarting my fund so that I'll be able to have the other lenses that I'm going to need to shoot with that camera. But I'm super excited with how well it shoots already. So, but that's where all the super chat monies and stuff are going. And so just a heads up, just refer to it as the Lens Fund because I got coffee. I'm going crazy because I got a lot of coffee. All right, let's check out the chat here a little bit. Jennifer J. Sargicino asking, if you have a tank that is 6 inches deep, how deep would you make the soil for plants? Actually, I used to have some big, really big 10-inch deep tanks, and they were 48 inches wide by 24 inches by about 10 inches deep. So in those, I guess would be the closest thing. I did have some 6-inch deep little 5.5s and stuff like that, but I typically only made, I would make like the wall go up the back. So that's probably not a great approximation, but I would say you really only need about 1 inch deep, just enough to hold the plants in there, the roots in there, and then just don't put any plants in there that will grow a giant root ball, which I think if you were planting a tank that was that small, it'd be pretty obvious not to stick a giant sword plant in there. So I don't think that would be too big or bad of a deal. All right, about 1 inch deep, yeah, would be the easiest approximation, just enough to get stuff in there. Especially on a 6-inch deep tank, you could probably just do dwarf baby tears throughout the whole thing and not have a problem because they're pretty easy to light. So, and those little guys only need about this much root. What is that? It's like 3/4 of a centimeter or something. They don't need a ton of space, but I would just have the inch there to make sure that it's enough to go that way. Let's see here. Ryan Charlesworth says the video is blurry. Is it blurry? I don't know. I don't know. I guess somebody will tell me if it's blurry or not. I guess somebody else will say. Let's see here. I'm trying to read through the chat. Ed's Fish would say Jaws also. Yeah, Jaws was a crazy movie. Obviously, that came out before I was born. I never got to see people, like, freaking out in the theater, but I would imagine that would have been crazy. Let's see. Michael Davis is asking, "Hey Joel, have you do you ever buy heavily established Anubias? Bought a few with 20-ish inch leaves. Pretty excited. Yeah, I definitely have. I think a lot of people in the past were always checking out my channel because of the Anubias Nana Petite that I had. I had a giant amount of it, and I was collecting it little tiny bit by little tiny bit by little tiny bit for quite a long time. And then I bought a giant colony of it off of a guy and cut it all up, and then it was just in all of my tanks. So I definitely have done that before. I currently have a couple of large Anubias that I'll probably be talking about later this week or maybe early next week. Yeah, I've definitely bought some big ones before. Also, I bought a giant colony of Fraseri at one point in time, and I'm still banned from that plant. You know, I'm still banned from having any of that plant because I had too much of it for the longest time. Let's see here. Boop, 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 boop. I'm trying to read everybody's chat. Dan Squires, do any UK guys know of a club in the southeast? I guess that's a good question to put out there into the world. I don't know if there are any. I don't know anything about the UK clubs, although I was talking to... I did respond to Douglas was asking earlier about the UK clubs and stuff, and I was saying, like, let us know if there's a really good UK club, because I don't think that's out of the world of possibilities to possibly come over the seas and do a presentation out there. That might be a big deal and might be pretty fun. D. Parsons says, quick question for everyone. I started with 2 cherry red shrimp and now have hundreds. I have a few really orange and yellow offspring. Anyone experienced this before? Yes, they will. If you start out with those really low numbers of genetic variants, which is why I typically recommend people to start out with 20 to 50 if you're going to start a colony, they start breeding back into their wild form. The bright red variety isn't, the bright red variety isn't necessarily how they look in the wild. They normally get picked off and eaten in the wild. So it is a human created variation, basically. So as they start getting orange and that kind of stuff, they'll start to head down the road of turning back to just regular old brown. So that is just one of those indicators as a shrimp breeder of what's going on. So I would look to add a couple of shrimp to that I almost said video. That's not right. I would look to add a couple of shrimp to that to kind of offset the genetics and keep them breeding bright red. That's personally what I would do. There might be some other methods out there that I'm not aware of, but that's what I would do. And it would probably be pretty easy with the cherry shrimp, personally, to source. They're not like super hard to come across or anything like that. Oh, sorry guys, I forgot to turn the sound off on the other computer station over here. Okay, there we go. I got the sound turned off. That's good. All right. JH Aquatics says, congratulations. Karen Pepe is asking, what cannon is it? It is the 6D Mark II, the Dreamboat. I would say that honestly, within the Amazon wish list, I have the 1DX Mark II in there, and I know that some people have criticized me for having the Amazon wish list. I don't think that anybody actually is ever going to order anything off of it, but the reason that I put it up there is because people ask me, hey, what if I wanted to get something for the show? What if I wanted to help you out in your productions and stuff? That's the whole reason I put it up in the first place. I don't ever expect anybody to order anything off of it, but I will give a big shout out to Victor, who not only sent me cookies last week, he also sent 2 cases of Mr. Brown, the Blue Mountain blend variety. Check it out. Here's how much a case is. There's a case of Blue Mountain iced coffee. Did I sound winded from picking it up? He sent the coffee over, so like I said, we're totally good on coffee. And as I mentioned before, the Amazon wish list, like, it has the 1DX Mark II camera on it. The camera that okay, so the long-term camera, someday, if the world, just thinking of dreaming, right, would be the C300 Canon camera, which actually is it's a Canon. It's a camera that's used for making films and stuff like that. So, but the 1DX is like $5,500. It's crazy. But I put it on there as like, hey, here's a prosumer type camera that you can just order from Amazon. Hey, man. What? The dog's barking. Sorry, guys. But I put that stuff on there. There are some cheap things on there if people want to go buy them, like coffee and stuff like that. I very much appreciate everybody. Like I said, I'm never asking anybody to do it. People ask me to put the Amazon wish list together in case they wanted to get something. I understand that the main thing that I have on there is like the lenses and a portable recorder, audio recorder, and a couple other things and stuff like that. And some people have expressed to me, they're like, man, the stuff on there is expensive. I'm like, all of the stuff that I need is expensive. So I'm sorry that it's that way, but that's just the stuff that I need. You know what I mean? I have lots of pens and pencils. I got that handled. You know what I mean? So, but pretty exciting week. Honestly, I got coffee and a camera, and it's pretty crazy, and cookies. And so it's pretty buck wild. And people have mentioned the Patreon. The Patreon is Actually, this month, believe it or not, the Patreon is just static. We've had a bunch of people leave and some new people come on. It's literally throughout the whole entire month. Hold on, where did the thing go? It said, let me see. It's 65 cents less than it was at the beginning of the month. So it's exactly the same. It's very exciting, you guys. I'm super stoked and just continuing rocking. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling, just going to keep doing what I can. I keep running around. I've got a lot of stuff going on, and but I'm pretty excited and appreciative, and I don't know how else to mention my gratitude, but it's pretty wild. So, Dango Bicon is asking, how do we commission you to make us a painting? Okay. I understand there are a lot of people out there that have told me they're like, hey man, the way you do this is weird. And I'm like, yeah, realistically, it's on purpose. It's not like I haven't thought, oh, it would be cool to just have a store that people could just click and order paintings from. But I feel like creating a painting for somebody is a very personal thing. I know I need to give a call to one of my potential clients here, as I'll be doing a portrait of a family member who has passed away. And that's a perfect example. That's the kind of stuff that I work on. Like this shrimp here happens to be for a guy who is obsessed with shrimp, who just constantly eats, sleeps, dreams, constantly shrimp. And I wouldn't necessarily want to just make paintings for people that are like, oh, I like a picture, right? So the process of getting a hold of me can be kind of a pain sometimes to some people, because you have to type out an email. You send me an email at joel@darkstararts.com and let me know what you want. Let me know what you going on. What size do you want it to be? Because realistically, if somebody just said, hey man, make whatever size painting you want, I'd make an 8-foot painting and you would never be able to get it because I couldn't ship it there. So or if I did ship it there, I'd have to pull it off the frame, roll it up, and then you'd have to get it reframed, which a lot of people are not willing to do that. So it's a little bit, it is a weird situation because you'd be commissioning an actual piece for me. So, but that's the way that I do it, and that's the way that it goes. DMC of the Sea. Speaking of DMC of the Sea, brand new patronizer. Thank you very much for patronizing. Asking a question. Recently bought a pump off Amazon to help with water changes. Should I worry about any lubricating oil that may be on any parts harming my fish? Should I just let it run in a bucket for a while? Well, if you have a fully submersible sump, there really shouldn't be any oil on it other than the possible canola oil or something along those lines, just to make it look shiny and fancy and not oxidize while it's waiting in the box. So it should be non-toxic if it's a submersible pump. If it does have any kind of chemical smell or anything like that, I would go ahead and just wash it off, in some hot water. Just soak it in some hot water, and not really that big of a deal. I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you do end up getting something that is like a basement sump style pump or a macerator pump or something like that, oftentimes they do have oil seals inside of them that can break down and release bad things in constant use. But if you're only using it for water changes and that kind of stuff, then I would not imagine that whatever's on it is really all that big of a problem. And take a deep breath. But I would wonder what pump it is that it might have any kind of oil on it. Let's see. Where did Freshman Aquatics was asking something? Well, either way, Jackson Kobalarks. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Probably not. Jackson K. How about that? Severum keeps shredding up Anubias. Any clue what I can do? No, there's really nothing you can do. You can't convince them to stop attacking them plants and stuff like that. I would consider moving those plants to a different tank. and trying out some other plants to see if they are putting the hammer on them. If you do happen to have some Severums that are into that, I don't think there's really anything that you can do to change their attitude. I think they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. Hold on a second. There's a lot of people talking to Freshman Aquatics here, and I didn't see what his question was. Oh, there we go. Hey, Joel, I got 15 pork chop rasboras today, and they are swimming at the top of the aquarium, pointing their faces at the top of the water. I don't see them gulping for air, but I don't know what is up. This could be two possible things. It could be that they're looking for some air. The gas exchange at the very top of your water is going to be much better for oxygen and those kinds of things. So they might be looking for air. They also might be... it might either be too cold or too warm in that tank. So I would definitely check the temperature and see what is going on with the temperature. Make sure it's in the range for those rasboras. Oh, and somebody down here, Freshman Aquatics just said, yeah, it's at 77 degrees. So that should be fine. My guess, if it's 77, then it should probably be something going on that they're looking for an oxygen exchange. I would definitely add an air stone or something along those lines so that you can run a little bit better oxygen exchange in there and see how that goes. If you don't have an air bubbler, there is another way that you can do it with a small power head or a utility pump. You can just get some surface agitation going. And then depending on what kind of filter you have running in there, you might be able to lower the water down and get a little bit of oxygen agitating in there with the hang-on back filter. That's another way to do it. So that hopefully that'll solve it. We'll see what happens, and keep me posted if that works it out. Gaddis Aquatics is asking, what camera would you suggest for around $500? Pretty easy for me right here to answer. If you are looking for a camera around $500, the best camera that you can find for that price is going to be a Canon 70D, 70D, or an 80D, 80D. Okay? The numbers are different internationally, but those same models are around. You're not going to be able to find that new, but you can find one used. So let's say a guy like me happened to get a 6D Mark II and wanted to sell off my 80, I'd probably sell it for around $500, or even a 70 for around $500. And that's going to have all of the stuff that you need. So a 70D is similar to, it's much smaller than this, but hold on. Oh, okay. Well, it's similar to this in a lot of ways, so we'll be fine. So you can actually change out the lens on it, so you can have different lenses to go into it. It's a cropped sensor, but it's a mirror style camera. So it's just for those people that don't know much about cameras, it actually will work like what you would hear a professional camera at either a political event or sports event. And so, okay, just know that. I'll keep it basic as possible. And then it's the 70D and the 80D also have this flip out screen right here for people like us that are YouTubers constantly shooting ourselves like this, like, hey buddies, I'm on the moon, and oh my gosh, there's lots of traffic here on the moon. Oh, bro, right? It has a flip out screen for that, so you can help frame yourself and figure out what's going on. Somebody to look up would be to look up like some old Casey Neistat videos. Those are actually shot on a 70D. Then he moved up to an 80D, and now he uses whatever billion-dollar gear that he uses now. I don't know, but you can check that stuff out, and it'll show you kind of the possibilities of the shots that you could get and stuff like that. Like I said, you could also change the lenses out and get different shots and things that you're looking to do. So oftentimes people that are on YouTube asking in the chat for what kind of camera to get. That's why I'll throw those caveats in there of like, hey, you'll be able to shoot yourself, do YouTube videos, also film things, and then also take still pictures, which is going to be a big thing that you're looking for. Realistically, just in it being 2018, 18 in the year 2018. You guys notice I'm wearing my red, white, and blue Presidential Day shirt, right? President's Day shirt. The reason I'm wearing it, right? The reason that I'm wearing it is because it's President's Day. But the reason I bring that stuff up is because oftentimes people that are watching YouTube and stuff are looking to do YouTube videos, but the stills are going to come in super handy because of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever you guys use. You're definitely going to need to work that way up. Aquarium Co-op says Casey went from a 70D to an 80D, back to a 70D, to an A7S II and A6500. I know that he actually uses a 6D Mark II for most of his stuff now. And then he broke one of his cameras, and Canon didn't want to fix it for whatever reason, and then he complained about it, and now he switched over to a GH5. But I would also take whatever Casey says nowadays with a grain of salt, because if you look around his shop, you realize he has every camera at his available for free. Also, he has like some of CNN's cameras. He has a whole bunch of stuff that he's using for a lot of things. So I would take that stuff with a grain of salt, but the stuff that he used to do, he specifically was doing with a 70D. That's why I would always recommend that camera for everybody. It definitely has all of the stuff that you, need. GH Aquatics, I'm setting up a small aquaponics setup on the roof of this restaurant. What fish should I use? It's a 400-gallon tub. It depends on the market where you're at. I think JH is in the American Virgin Islands, right? I think that's where you're at. So I would first of all look at the market available for resale of fish would be the first thing I would look for. As you guys know, I'm going to put koi into my aquaponics system once that gets up and running this year. I'm going to put koi in there because I'm going to be able to grow them out and resell big mature koi fish. And it's not really a secret that they sell for a lot. So that's the reason I'll be doing that. It'll also make it, it will make it realistically a viable project for me to be doing financially. Like, let's say if it's costing me $100 a month, I need to somehow offset that cost just as a person. And definitely as somebody that gives advice, I would also like to show you guys that I go, look, it costs me $100 a month, but in the long run, it makes $200 a month or something. So it's like, it's just paying for itself, basically. So we definitely, that's all the stuff that I want to set up. That's the stuff that I try to show people is that like, hey, this thing is sustainable for a longer amount of time. Okay. So I would look into that. And I would also look into the possibility of if they want to sell fish for the restaurant, first, whether or not that's legal. Could be illegal. It might not meet the health standard codes for the area. Two, most people don't get down on tilapia all that much, but tilapia would be the main forerunner of what you could run in there if you wanted to run it for food. But in a restaurant application, a 400-gallon tub isn't going to do anything to feed the restaurant. It's just not going to be big enough to do anything. One busy night, and you'd sell all that fish in no time. Mellow Moogle with a $5 super chat. Gangster Mellow Moogle, $5 super chat says, if you were just getting started out and had a limited budget, would you prioritize getting a gimbal or a microphone? I can answer this question 100%. 100%. And I could tell you why. Because first of all, I'm on a big-time budget. I may not be just starting out, but I'm still on a big-time budget. I'm broke as all get out. My budget for this month is, I blew it out of the water because that camera showed up, and I bought a lens like immediately. I was just like, I need a lens right now. So I blew my budget out of the water, and now I have a $93 budget to spend on something. So I am actually buying another microphone because a gimbal does not come in handy for a lot of the stuff that needs to be done. More often than not, a shot, you could set a camera down, you could get the shot, you could put it on a tripod like that one back there. That tripod right back there is awesome possum. It takes, I think that thing holds like 35 pounds. You could put a VHS tape camera on that thing, and it wouldn't come down. You know what I mean? It would stand there. So a lot of the stuff that you could do with a gimbal can be done just as a human person. I have that tripod out in the fish room with a jib on it that I was telling Corey the other day. I think it was $39.99. It wasn't. It was $59.99. So it was actually $60 for it. It was more than I thought. I had ordered it and it just happened. But the jib plus the tripod, which the tripod I normally will go around to Goodwill, Salvation Army, Value Village, any of those secondhand stores, and see if they have tripods there for sale. And I'll typically get them between $4 and $10. The most I've ever paid was $10. The least I've ever paid was $3.99. And my $3.99 tripod is still out in the fish room. I still use it to this day. But 100%, if you're starting out, a gimbal is not necessarily going to help what you're trying to do. More often than not, a couple pieces of tape and some bubble gum could probably do what you'd be doing with a gimbal. Gimbals will be coming a lot further down the line as making videos and stuff like that. Plus, you know, a really good gimbal is like $600, which if your camera budget's $500, you could buy a $600 gimbal, be $100 in the hole, and then not be able to do anything with it. You could just put your cell phone on it or something, which would work. But I would definitely get, you know, for the price of most gimbals out there. So like in my current wish list, right, sitting right here, because I already have some mics and stuff, I have a Zoom H6 6-track recorder. That's my next big purchase that I'm trying to get. That one's $349, so it's like $300. Plus I already have the mics, but you can definitely get some condenser mics and stuff like that for it. For the price of a gimbal, and just really start killing it on your audio, which almost, okay, a lot of YouTubers ignore audio, but I will tell you, you know, there is absolutely no top YouTuber at the top who ignores audio. So that's what I would remind people to do. If you have a little bit of a shaky video or something like that, people can make it out. But if you have terrible audio, people have no idea what's happening. They have no clue what is going on at all. So that's what I would do. I would definitely get a good mic. I'm talking to you on a $400 mic. So yeah, that's where I put my money for sure. Let's see here. Oh, okay. I blew my nose and I sneezed on the Monday stream. All right. Good times. Pleco Nation with the $5 super chat with no questions on it or anything like that. Thank you very much, Pleco Nation. I will say, Pleco Nation is always popping in some really cool stuff on our Facebook page, the Dark Star Arts Facebook page. Hashtag free plug. Throwing that in there. It's a Facebook page. We just post fun stuff on things that we find on the internet or whatever, or things that are going on. It's a closed group. You got to get approved for it. So if people are mad about that, well, that's just the way it goes, because you know, can't let the bots in. You know what I'm saying? It's just, we can't let the robots in because Skynet's real and they're tracking us and they're gonna probably get us. Loops LA is recommending to JH Aquatics to put 300 rice fish in there. Yeah, I would definitely do rice fish. Like I said, you want to check your local markets to make sure that you can be growing something out that could be resold. Priscilla MK Art is here saying, well, he uses grinders on his camera. Casey loves to break stuff. Yep, he's always breaking stuff. So I would definitely take whatever he's recommending with a bit of a grain of salt, because he pretty much has everything at his disposal for free at this point. So if he is giving you a recommendation for a camera, it might be good, it might not. I don't know. It would be hard-pressed to say. I don't know the guy personally, and, so, I just take it with a grain of salt, because if you look around his shop, he's got every camera under the stars in there, because everyone sends them stuff. Mellow Moogle with the follow-up question, Rode mic versus Zoom mics. Zoom mics are great. They're fantastic. Rode mics are fantastic also. But if you are on a budget, be like me and just get some Rode mics, because the mountable Rode mics for like $90 or whatever, I think the little one I have was like $55, I think. And let me see. Yeah, today's, let's see, right over here, Rode VM Go mic, which is the next step up from the low one, is $98.88, so it's like $100 by Rode, and that's even better than the one I normally use. So not that big of a deal for a $100 investment. That's going to be something that's awesome. Let's see here. Loops LA is asking, is Lup Diesel's name Lupe? No, his name's Robert. His last name is Lupton, so that's where he gets the Lup Diesel from. And he's a big guy. He's a big burly dude. He's from the Midwest. Mike Wall says you should paint a Cardinal Sulawesi shrimp. Yeah, maybe at some point. I'm definitely not against it. Let's see. Denise Lytle with the $5 super chat asking, aquascaping for 6 silver dollar fish and 1 angel in a 75. The silver dollars demolished my plants in a 55. A little bit confused. Is that a statement or a question? Silver dollars will generally hammer plants for sure. It's just one of those things that they do. It's just like in their nature. I mean, it's just something that they're like into, and it would be hard. I'd be hard pressed to find a plant that they wouldn't do. The few times that I have done big silver dollar tanks, we did some low-lying anubias and stuff like that, which would hang in for a while. But then they would eventually, it'd come in the next day and they'd be, floating around. You'd be like, oh, they managed to break it loose from wherever it was at. But one of the cool things we did with the silver dollar fish was actually to grow plants up out of the top of the tank, and they might have chewed and ripped up the roots a little bit and stuff like that, but the plants continued to do fine. So I would almost look into doing, with silver dollar fish, to possibly look to doing like a lowered water biotope situation with maybe a raft with a bunch of plants growing out of it. That's my inclination of what I would do if I was going to do some silver dollar fish, but they are fantastically cool, cool fish. But for whatever reason, they just like terrorizing plants. I don't know why, and I wouldn't consider them really like an aggressive fish necessarily, but they definitely like taking up plants for sure. I don't know why. Maybe it has to do with their breeding or something like that. I've never gone in depth with really what they're all about. Like I said, I was always working on other people's tanks with them. I've never really kept them myself, but cool fish for sure. And definitely good looking when they get, if they can get flashing with some good light going on. Jeff Rose Fish Keeping saying, what's up, fish fam? What up? It's Monday. I was expecting to see a lot of people here today, and I am awesome to say there are a lot of people here today. 184 live. Pretty good. But sounds like a typical Monday. Doesn't sound like we went way over the mark. But don't act like I'm saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying it's a good thing. It turns out holiday means the same good people are gonna show up, right? That's good with me. I'm cool with that. Let's see from the chat. Jackson K is asking, favorite pleco colony for a 125. What are those called? Leopard frog plecos? I think those are leopard frog plecos. Am I saying that wrong? I might be saying that wrong. Leopard frog? That feels like I'm saying it wrong. Yeah, I might be. Yeah, I don't know. Might be saying that wrong. But the leopard frog plecos, those have to kind of be my favorite right now. What are those? L134s, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. Those would be the ones I'd go for if I was going to do it. If I was going to do a pleco colony, for sure. Let's see here. Savannah Morrow says, I wish I could find the mother. She's pretty well planted. Wait, what's going on here? I'm getting the second part. Savannah says, one of my guppies is giving birth, but I can't find which one. Just itty-bitty guppies showing up. You might be too late. You might be too late. You might be too late. They might already be done giving birth, and the babies are showing up now. Typically, if they can get through the first hour or 2 hours of not getting eaten by any of the other guppies in the tank, the babies will make it. They'll just keep swimming around and stuff. And not be that big of a deal. Swift Aquarium is asking, has anyone ever set up an auto feeder for a beta? I'm trying to organize an easy-to-care-for fish tank for my kid cousin. I have set up beta auto feeders before, and not a great idea. That is not great for their water quality, and it's also not great for their personality. They'll end up just hanging around the auto feeder, staring up at it all the time. Oh, trust me on that one. And it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad if they're doing that, but I would say a beta tank, a 10-gallon beta tank would be the best thing for a nephew or a niece or some kids or somebody young. Finding an easy tank to take care of would be that, because even if you miss feeding for a day or two or any of that kind of stuff, it's not going to be a big problem for a beta. They're kind of just hang around and chill out until some food's available. It's going to be one of the ways to go, honestly. I will tell you guys, I just got back from eating chicken and waffles, and it was exquisite. But if you do hear me, I'm sneezing and blowing my nose, and I think I burped. I think I got the trifecta on this one, on this live stream, you guys. I think I handled the trifecta of doing everything ridiculous on the show. But there are no commercial breaks. Just occasionally we talk about the Amazon and Patreon and all that kind of stuff. And, so no commercial breaks for me to, step away and blow my nose or whatever. Let's see here. Okay. Frank Dominguez is asking, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. No, I went to Dirty Oscar's Kitchen out here in Tacoma, Washington. It was fantastic. It was like a crazy bacon-infused waffle with a bunch of fried chicken on top of it. Some kind of poppy seed butter spread. Oh, it was pretty good. It was amazing. It was delicious. And if you guys are thinking that I ate fried chicken and waffles on President's Day, yes, that is definitely a holiday kind of meal. Jennifer J just ordered a mic and bird food off of the Amazon link. Ah, right on. Thank you, Jennifer J. Very much appreciate it. Definitely like it. Definitely appreciate you guys ordering stuff through the Amazon banner. It doesn't change the price or anything. It just lets Amazon know that I'm sending traffic their way, and it's just like you guys could click on my Amazon banner, or it's gonna be clicked whatever you guys accidentally clicked at whatever point. So I always think like, hey, the recommendation is just to hey, I like to go for the ones that I know I'm going to. Mike Wall says, Joel, I'm going to buy a 48 by 24 by 12 60-gallon frag tank and plan to do either freshwater shrimp or plecos. Any thoughts? Yes, Mike Wall. I have lots of thoughts on those aquariums. I used to actually have 2 of those that I made from scratch, and you could check out some of my old videos where I had those set up. One of them I had an autosynclus colony in, one I had a crystal shrimp colony in, and one I did some other stuff with. You can definitely check those out. Some of the old videos, you can check those out, because I had a couple of those tanks for a long time. Did them planted style too. And I don't know if I ever made making the tank videos. I think I might have to some degree. But yeah, Mike, you could check out some of the old videos. I had 2 of those aquariums. Betsy Cummings, does anybody else have mystery snails that go surfing? I've spent the afternoon watching mine climb in the tank, then let go, spread out that foot, and literally surf back to the bottom. Yeah, I've seen them do that. I think my favorite thing is when they're when any kind of snail is upside down on the surface tension of the water floating around. I'm just like, I don't even know how you're doing that. I don't even know how you're doing that. And I'm not ever jealous of a snail until they're doing that thing. And then I'm like, oh my, I wish I could do that. That'd be fun. Let's see. The D. Thomas OCG with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, my man. Let's see. Can't hear most of the stream over the orbital sander, but I'll catch up later. Hashtag Flueball's tripping. Oh, and do you like Duluth trading flannels? So much money. I like Duluth clothes. I like the Duluth pants. They are pretty durable, even though they, when you get them, they feel like they can stand up on their own because they're made out of some kind of super heavy-duty fire hose material, supposedly. But I do like the Duluth trading stuff. It is, but as you mentioned, it is ridiculously expensive. I don't know. I think last time I looked at it, their pair of pants was like $150 or something like that. And you will not see me spend $150 on a pair of pants. I mean, maybe as associated with a suit, but I'm not going to spend $150 on a pair of work pants. Especially $150 will buy me 5 pairs of the pants that I normally wear, if not more than 5. So, no, I like the Duluth trading stuff. I would never buy it. I would never buy it for myself. It's just way too much money. Even some of the Carhartt stuff is like too much money. I'm like, I'm not going to pay $60 for a pair of work pants that I'm going to, chisel up concrete with, or, cut wood in all day, or any of that kind of stuff. It's just kind of crazy. It's just kind of crazy to honestly spend that kind of money on some work pants. It's nuts. Iggy Zuniga is asking, good work, man. Love your stuff. Was looking at some old videos, just wondering what kind of substrate you use again. I remember you mentioning to her face, and I haven't found a good source of that. Oh, Turface. Okay, let me type it out here. Turface. It is kind of hard to find Turface, right? But more often than not, you're going to find it. It's a baseball diamond. So the interior part of a baseball field where the guys run around the bases, that portion, and then the underlayer on a baseball field is actually, they use Turface because of how well it drains. So it's a fantastic product, but you're going to have to go to find a different type of retailer, because it's not going to be sold as a substrate for planted aquariums. So I don't know which direction to point you in. I don't go that way anymore because I just order, the Fluval stratum and fluorite sand and stuff like that. I just trying to find sneaky ways around using ADA or Fluval or anything like that just turned into a giant waste of money and a barrel of headaches and stuff like that. So I just wait till I have enough money saved up and just order the good stuff. And if that sounds weird, well, brought to you by Mr. Brown. No, I don't. No, I'm just drinking it. I just like it. I would take a sponsorship with these guys, though. I'll drink their coffee all the time. It's delicious. And it's ready to go. It comes in a little tiny can. Try it out. It's got a guy with a beard on it. He's wearing a suit. You know he's good. Ooh, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. So let's see here. Betsy Cummings with the $5.55 super chat for some Duluth Trading Company pants fund. LOL. Well, as much as I appreciate the advice to kick in on the Duluth pants fund, I don't think I'd put my money that direction. It's sort of like Mellow Moogle's question earlier of like, should I get a gimbal or a microphone? Well, I'm gonna get the Dickies pants that I know that work really well, and they only cost. I have them flagged so that if they go on sale for $20, that I just go ahead and buy a couple of pairs, and then I'll just keep them in the bag. I'll just keep them in the bag until these pants get so shredded that it's time to open up some new ones. So, Schwisky Vision's got to go back to work and watching Murder on the Oriental Express. So weird. So weird. Oh, it's so weird. Murder on the Oriental Express. But I wear Dickies all the time, and I can't afford those Duluth pants, nor would I want to. Mainly, as I was saying, I can get 5 pairs of the Dickies for the same price, and these ones have handy holdy pockets and belt loops and stuff on them that I use all the time. So I'm into that. But Betsy, I definitely appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. Let's see. Douglas Palmer says, I can get combats and work pants for 16 of the Queen's mugshots. Well, I could buy combat boots too, but I actually use I don't wear combat boots anymore. I find out that they were really screwing up my feet. So nowadays I actually use, these are actually rock climbing mountaineering shoes. We got some dirt on them. Look at that. Because I was out in the dirt today, dirting around. But these are actually a mountaineering, what they're called is an approach shoe. They actually have a rubber cap on them for scrambling around, doing a little bit of rock climbing and stuff. These are kind of my favorite shoes. These are made by 510, and they normally go on sale for about $70, which one of the big reasons for these is that I could get combat boots. I can get combat boots for cheaper, but I wear through them. They really only will last a couple of weeks before they have a bunch of holes in them and stuff, and then I have to go buy a new pair, whereas these will actually last a really long time. So, yeah, those are actually what I wear now. And, so now that we've been talking about my clothes for quite a while, let's see if we can't get on to some other topic. But, yeah, it's what I wear every day. And they actually make my back doesn't hurt as often, and Neither do my knees as much. So probably a good thing, I would guess. Let's see. Cuyahoga Aquatics asking, any advice for keeping fancy guppies? I can't seem to keep mine through quarantine. All readings are 0, and nitrate is 5, pH 8.2. KHGH is 13, temp is at 80. Thank you. Cuyahoga, that actually sounds just right. KHGH might be a little bit high, but I know that most guppies like to have a little bit higher. They want some calcium and stuff like that, so that should be fine. 80 degrees is about right. And if... I would wonder why your nitrate is so low. Unless you have like a... if you have a heavily planted tank, I wonder why your nitrate would be at 5. That sounds like you might have a situation. So I would look into that. Maybe you're not cycled, or maybe you're just overly heavily planted, and that could just be sucking up all the nutrients and causing a problem with them. I would also look into where you're getting them from. Where you're getting them you might be getting them from somewhere if you can't get them through the quarantine time. It might be like if you're getting them from a wholesaler or something like that, or a store, local store, maybe they're just not in good enough shape to even have been transported or something like that, because I have seen that before in the past. Hey, we're over 200 live viewers. There we go. Yeah. Congratulations, Monday. We went over 200 today. Nice work, people. Nice work being a people and showing up. I appreciate it. I really do. I don't know. I'm always like searching for good ways to show my gratitude. And I don't... sometimes I feel like I don't know if I'm doing it well enough or not. Let's see. BC Fish Room's asking... oh, no, that's not a question. That's an answer for Iggy. Oh, okay. Okay, it was asking how many bags for the recommended depth. Yeah, most substrates have a calculator on their website that will let you know how big your aquarium is and how much you'd need to get for the depth. I did a substrate comparison just a little while ago because people were like, look, that stuff's twice as expensive as the other stuff. And I was like, yeah, but there's twice as much of it. And they're like, no, it's the same weight. I was like, okay. But I'm like, volume and weight are two different things. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I'm going to make a video, man. And then it took me about 6 months to actually put the video together. So then they saw it, and then they were like, yeah, well, thanks for doing that so much later. I was like, you'll be okay. You'll be all right, bud. That's what I told them. I told them, I was like, man, you're going to be all right. And then they were. And so they survived. But, yeah, so check out that volume calculator. A lot of the good sites, a lot of the good companies will have it, if you know what I mean. And Susan from SLC Aquatics says, hit the like button. Otherwise, Skynet will reach out and be mad at us. The robots, man. We have to appease the algorithm robots. They're autonomous. They're doing what they want. Let's see. Dan Squire says, we get to come and go as we please, but Joel has to be here every show for the whole show. And that's commitment. Head over to the Patreon. Yeah, I did mention that at one point in time. Somebody was like, I don't understand why I'm supposed to patronize you, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, it's okay. Well, I'm supposed to convince people why I should Patreon them or they should patronize me or whatever. I'm like, you don't have to if you don't want to. But I show up for this, and at the very least, I'm here for like 2 hours straight, which, it's definitely just a commitment of just that, right? Barring all the other work that I do, but, it's all good. Let's see. Swift Aquarium says they're just dense. Oh. I like it. Just some of them substrates are dense, bro. Along with the people I was trying to explain it to. Yeah, I get it. Double entendre, my friend. Very much appreciate it. G Bear says, I just binge watched Takahashi Amano videos. My mind is blown on his last project before he passed. I think that's the one in Buenos Aires or something, South America somewhere. I don't know. I haven't been there, so I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just saying. Don't remember exactly where it was, but it's one of the biggest planet tanks in the world, I think. Amazing projects. You always had amazing projects. I think the one in his house is the one that really blew my mind. That big angel tank that he had on display. Not to mention all the craftsmanship that went into all the woodwork around it and all that kind of stuff. Amazing setup in his house. What just an amazing piece. And I believe they built the whole house around the eventual install of that aquarium. Like the whole point was to have the house encompass that aquarium and flow from that aquarium point. So pretty awesome. Betsy Cummings asking Joel to use under substrate plant helpers. I see James Finley spread some down on every scape, and I want to find out what he uses or something like it. James Finley actually uses the Bacter stuff from ADA. It's just some of the products that they sell. It's a Bacter A, B, and C or something like that, which is just some supplements that they add underneath their substrate. The only thing that I add under professional substrates is Montmorillonite clay, which actually is something that its main use in the United States would be for... it's a makeup and facial compound, but it is a comprehensive edible supplement that essentially is mined in somewhere in Utah. I don't know where, but it's mined in Utah and broken down, and then the deficiencies are taken out of it, or any kind of not deficiencies, but just contaminants or whatever, cross rock contamination, whatever. That's the only thing that I generally put in underneath. I will occasionally break up some clay pots, some red clay pots, into fine stuff and throw that underneath just to make sure I have some additional iron supplement, but that's really all that really needs to go into it. One of the great things about like Stratum, ADA, EcoComplete, trying to think of a few other here, Fluorite, Floramax, a lot of that stuff is a really high cation exchange capacity. So as you're doing water changes, you're adding a little bit of fertilizer and you're adding fish waste and fish food, you're actually adding a lot of comprehensive things that will be picked up by those substrates as they're depleted by the plants from just the natural turnover of water and stuff like that. So, like Fluval Stratum has a bunch of... it has basically a bunch of starter fertilizers in it that will eventually wear off. But like I said, as we're adding things to the tank, we're adding fish waste, we're adding fish food, we're doing water changes, we're adding a little bit of fertilizer. I currently am adding a little bit of Easy Green from the Aquarium Co-op. As far as fertilizer goes, it's super easy, real comprehensive. Just pump it into the tank. It's super easy math, and I'm testing out some of that to see what the reaction from some of my tanks are, and we shall see if the benefits are good. I'm assuming that they're going to be good, and that would be pretty good. Betsy Cummins saying, so I can crush some pots and use that under my substrate. I also use Corey's Easy Green. Yes, I would for sure. If you're looking for an iron supplement, that is a great way to go about it. You can crush up some old broken red clay pots. I normally break up the already broken ones because I don't want to break one that's still good and then have Vicky go, "What are you doing? What are you doing smashing my good pots?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. I'm just some guy that's here with this hammer. I don't know." Denise Lytle says, Magic Mom at Douglas Palmer. And it is so hard to be 52 and just give up a career, the one I truly loved. Oh, what's going on here? We got some in-depth conversation here. I'm going to catch up. Osteoporosis. What's going on here? Always try to use something natural before resorting to the chemical, pharmaceutical. Had to go out early in retirement from nursing due to 4 herniated discs in my back. Oh, I hate to hear that. Now, wait a minute. That name rings a bell. Hold on a second here. Let's see. Loading. What's this thing doing? What? Why am I... Hey, man. Load. Sometimes I have to yell at this commercial. Oh, Denise Lytle. She's a brand new Patreonizer. Thank you very much. Retired as a nurse from osteoporosis from 4 slip discs in your back. Ah, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully that's opened up a new avenue for you. My mom is an RN, and it seems impossible for her to retire. I think she's at year 45. I'm going to make my mom sound super old, but I think she's been a nurse for RN, charge nurse, ED, nurse, all sorts of nurse, and I don't think she can give it up. And I think she's 45 years or something like that. I know she got her 40-year reward, which I think was a watch or something ridiculous like that. But so hopefully she moves into her next career if she could ever retire. But she loves being a nurse. She loves taking care of people. So she definitely is way into it. Gone Mad says, red is not my color. Thanks, man. This far into the show. You know, you could have told me earlier before the show and just ruined it. You just ruined it for me, Mr. Gone Mad. Eric, come sleep on your couch and wear my red shirt. That's right. I'll do it. All right. Let's see here. Since you're saying clay pots and stuff, would you recommend against root tabs? Iggy, no, I would definitely recommend root tabs, but I would use them in specific applications. So I was over at Corey's place. I aquascaped one of his aquariums in his at the Maboo Studios there. I aquascaped one of his aquariums, and I used root tabs in that aquarium. Now, one of the big things for that is that sand, that rough sand style substrate that I put in there is pretty heavy in silicates and stuff like that. So it doesn't have much of a cation exchange capacity because it's, if you get down onto the, essentially you get down to the molecular level, it's smooth like glass, silicate, glass, right? So it's not going to hold a lot of excess nutrients and stuff. Its cation capacity is pretty darn low. It's just fairly inert substrate. So especially in that application, it was a great idea to add some root tabs and things along those lines so that over time that will be able to fill in and be a healthy aquarium because of the setup. Dan Squires is asking, so when are we going to see the shots from the new camera? Fairly soon, my man. Some of those videos will be coming out probably the end of the week, maybe Wednesday's live show. I hope to have an episode together for tomorrow, but the timelines are just compounding together, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to have a short episode for you guys tomorrow or not. But yeah, I've definitely used root tabs over the years, especially so the application of the substrate depends on the substrate is going to mean something. It's going to mean whether or not you would want to use root tabs. If you're using a highly inert sort of silica-based style substrate like that, or granite-based substrate or something that's not going to pick up nutrients. And another thing to add in is that it depends on some of the plants. If you have seriously heavy root feeders, for instance, most sword plants are really heavy root feeders, and they will grow a giant root ball. Eventually, they'll just keep growing a bigger and bigger root ball until it can take over, and root tabs are a great way to mitigate that spread of the root ball. Plus, it will also keep the plant growing for a long time because it's not constantly stretching and looking for more nutrients from, trying to move its roots out further and farther to get more nutrients when you could just actually supply them with just this really simple root tabs. And considering how cheap root tabs are, they're a great fertilizer for a lot of plants. So, Gone Mad is asking, what happened to the time lapse of breakfast? I don't know. Oh, the time lapse of breakfast from when we were there? I've still got it. I've got footage. I've got footage all over the place, man. I still got it. I don't know if I ever put it out, though. Real Fish Talk tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Yep. Chicken Lips is here. The red shirt really makes the blue shrimp pop. Great contrast from Chicken Lips. Thank you, Chicken Lips. Gone Mad just said that my red was not my color. I think the new light bulbs in here are not exactly friendly to me lighting the show very well. So I do think the wrong light bulbs got put into the new light up there. But I'll get that sorted out by Wednesday. So don't worry about it if I look a little bit weird. It's okay. I'm living with it. Y'all can live with it. It'll be fine. Barbara Jackson says, my tank grows plants best is a 1x1x1 layered substrate of EcoComplete, Fluval Stratum, and fine medium Cemex Lapis Luster Sand with a bit of pea gravel here and there. Yep, that would be a fantastic setup, Barbara. I would definitely recommend that for anybody out there to go that route, for sure. Savannah Morrow says, I realize my paint supply is old and somewhat congealed. What is a good but affordable brand of acrylic paint to start a basic paint supply? Thank you. Golden Acrylics, my favorite. Can't recommend any other brand. That's it. Golden Acrylics. They're the jam. They're the jammy McJammerton. You can buy them in little 1-ounce bottles, too, in case you're on a budget. Baller on a budget. You can buy them in little tiny bottles. So, you don't have to buy the giant bottles like I do. Denise Lytle says, Joel, yes! So I became an aquarium hobbyist with multiple tank syndrome. Multiple tank syndrome! All right. We like that multiple tank syndrome. We encourage that kind of behavior around here. We don't, well, we don't judge if you feel like you have too many tanks. Don't worry. We won't say anything to you. Maybe LR Brett says 5 too many tanks. He's over 300 now. That feels like too many. I mean, he should open a warehouse or something, and then it would be like, oh yeah, that's exactly how many tanks should be in here. Red puts more color in your cheeks. Oh yeah, that's right. Let's see here. I'm trying to read questions. Turbofish, been in lurk mode, was out exploring, found some sweet rocks and a sweet branch, moving the Fahaka puffer from the 75 to the 90. I read a deeper tank is healthier. Saw it supported by breeders. And Zach, Crazy Fish Tanks. All right. Well, we are coming up on the 5 o'clock mark, so if we have a bunch of questions we want to get in, go ahead and get them in because we only got 7 minutes left. And then you guys will be able to go, if you just can't handle it, you guys can go check out Bob Steenfott because he's going to be live at 5 o'clock, live at 5, I believe. As far as I know, he's live today. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. So I wouldn't know, but I think he is. I think he's live at 5 o'clock. But let's pop into the chat here and check out a couple of things. Nathan Chang. Oh, hopefully I'm Chung. Might be Chung, might be Chang. Sorry if I screwed it up. I've got EcoComplete in my 40-gallon heavily planted tank. I was wondering if I ever need to refertilize the substrate with something like root tabs. Like I said, that depends on what you're doing long term because you are probably doing water changes. You are probably feeding whatever is in there. And you may or may not be adding a little bit of fertilizer, but it's really oftentimes, like I said, going to come down to plant selection, depending on how heavy the root feeders are in there. You can end up with a little deficiency in some of those plants if they are root feeding bound plants, right? Like if that's the only way that they're taking up nutrients, which is a short list. It's not that many plants that do that. Most of them can also grab from the water column from their leaves and things, but it would really depend on the on the plants. But if you are doing all those things, if you really feel like you want to refertilize, like I was saying that the Easy Green's probably the easiest way to do it. And, you know, an Eco-Complete is still going to grab whatever ions that you're adding to the water in the form of fertilizer. So that's going to be a great way to do it. And for me, it's worked out really simple because it's just a couple of pumps into the tank after water changes and stuff like that. It's super easy. So I think it's pretty simple way to do it. But yeah, with Eco-Complete, you will be able to maintain long term. You won't have to add root tabs unless you have those heavy root feeders. Gone Mad's asking, hey man, if you're going to the Killy thing in Michigan, we are down. Breakfast on me. Yeah, man, if I'm going to Michigan, I will fully let everybody know on the internet. I did get a couple of messages that people didn't know I was going to Portland, and they were super upset about it. I felt like I talked about it a lot, but if there is a next road trip coming up, I'm definitely going to make sure I send out more messages and let more people know, post more things so that people will know. But if I do go out to Michigan, it'd be awesome to see you guys. Maybe we can meet up at Matt Weber's house and, you know, crash the joint and make breakfast there, because he probably won't make breakfast, so we'd have to make it there. But leave him with the mess. Tell him to clean up, right? Let's see. Quinn Mallory, Father's Day will be 1 year anniversary of multiple tanks syndrome. 7 fish tanks, 300 gallons. Nice. That's working good. I think you could double it and it'd be all right still, though. You know, if you were at 600 gallons and 14 tanks, that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. I mean, if you went much past that, I don't know. Might be a little overwhelming to take care of on a today basis, right? Let's see. At Corvus, guidance on placing a sweet 30-inch branch into the 75, horizontal with rocks, vertical. Depends on how it fits. I would probably go diagonal. That's how I'd do it. Diagonal. Vexing Cat with the $10 super chat because my husband thinks you need a tip. Well, thank you to Vexing Cat's husband. I think Vexing Cat's husband is correct. Right? Right. Thank you very much, you guys, for all the super chats. I got to say thanks. I want to make sure before we accidentally run over our time, I want to say thanks to all the super chatters. LG3 Nation, thank you very much. Eric Gone Mad, thank you very much. Tim Lewis, thank you very much. Mellow Moogle, thank you very mucho. Pleco Nation, thanks, buddy. Denise Lytle, the D. Thomas CG, thank you very much. Betsy Cummings, Jeff Rose, Fish Keeping, thank you very much. Vexing Cat. Oh, and a new one in right at the end from Steve Shrimpery, and more. Insert something witty here. I love chocolate truffles. They're delicious. I love them. Nom, 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 nom. I want to get off sugar, but I love cookies and candy. So I don't think it's going to happen. But let's run through a couple questions. We do have 2 minutes left, right? And, you know, we make the rules. We make the rules here. We make the rules here on the internet. We get to do what we like. Let's see. Okay, Nathan Chang saying, okay, thanks. Asking because some of my crypts started randomly melting, even though they have been in the tank for several months. It's possible they could have been bumped around or something like that. I would have to kind of figure out exactly what was going on with crypts. They do melt from time to time just because they are a little bit crafty, weird little plants sometimes. Jennifer J. Sarchicino is about time for the Olympicing. There was curling on earlier, which I think everybody was saying fan favorite this year has been the curling. Has been everyone's favorite thing on there. Definitely entertaining, that's for sure. Don't forget to hit that like button from Steve. It's free and it only takes a second. That's right. Let's see here. Keel Quigley, sweet, made it back in time. Oh, just for the last couple minutes. Keel Quigley, don't forget to hit the like button, my man, on your way out. Debbie Swan says, thanks for another great show. Mr. Master Beta says, thanks, Joel, everyone. Good times. Betsy says she loves curling. Can hornwort grow roots? Yes. Yes, it can. Dan Squire says, see y'all tomorrow on Real Fish Talk. Keep your ears peeled. Hit the notification button because I might have a short video tomorrow. I'm not sure. Hopefully. We'll see. Okay. Well, it looks like we got to most of the questions. If I missed your question or something like that, feel free to email it to me, joel@darkstararts.com. Don't forget to go through the Amazon banner while you're there. Blah, 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 blah. Self-aggrandizing nonsense. So let's be good with that. I'm going to say an extra thank you to everybody for coming out today. You see your guys' amazing support is always a reminder to me that the sky isn't falling, that the world isn't ending, and everything will just keep going. And we'll just keep plugging away, keep making stuff and doing projects. Thanks again to everybody, each and every one of you. Love you all. Have a fantastically safe Monday. Don't get too weird out there. Don't light off any fireworks. And get your earballs ready for the later. Anybody's eating that button?